Hi, my name is Victoria Moore, and this is my progression regression video using biomechanical terms to make an exercise more difficult or simpler for the individual. So to make it harder, it's a progression exercise. So you gradually make it more advanced for yourself or the individual. And for a regression exercise, you make it simpler to suit the individual needs of somebody. So for an open kinetic exercise, it means that your distal limbs are still free to move while your proximal parts stay placed or stationary. So you would still be able to move your wrists or your fingers or your toes and your feet, depending if you're doing upper or lower extremities. So for my upper extremity exercise, I chose to do bicep curls. So the more progressive way to do it is holding a weight. I'm using a 10, but use one that's challenging for you. So keep your elbow close to your side. So as you come up, it's a concentric contraction, which means that your muscle's shortening. And as you go down, it's an eccentric contraction, which means your muscle is lengthening. An easier way to make it more regressive for a bicep curl is you can grab a resistance band and just stand on it, and the closer, like the tighter you make it, the harder it is, and you can do your bicep curl. You don't always need weights, and it's still just as efficient with a lower chance of hurting yourself. For a lower extremity exercise, for open kinetic chain, I chose to do hamstring curls. So the way you could do it at home, which is the more aggressive way, is just laying down and flexing your knee. You still are able to move your foot and your toes freely. A way to make it more progressive is you can go do it on the hamstring curl machine, or so it adds resistance and weight, but you can also just do it at home. You can stand on one leg and no hands and do your hamstring curl that way to make it a bit more progressive without needing the machines. For a closed kinetic chain exercise, your distal ends remain closed while your proximal parts stay mobilized. So basically your hands and your feet stay stationary on the ground for the exercise that you're doing. So for my upper extremity exercise, I chose push-ups, and there's many ways to do them. So the most normal way to do them is just your feet planted, arms, your hands are planted, make sure your back and your butt are straight, and flexion of the elbow. A way to make it more aggressive is you can do it from your knees, which is the one that I prefer so I can work on my form better. You can flexion of the elbow, and if you want to make it even more aggressive, you can just widen your stance a bit so your center of gravity is more balanced. To make it a bit harder, you can grab a Bosu ball. You can have it this way, which is a bit more easier than flipping it the other way, and it's still really good for balance. Just nice and straight again, flexion of the elbow. Ooh, that's really hard, so it'll be really efficient. For the lower extremity exercises, I chose to do a squat. So the simplest, most regressive way to do it is weightless, nothing added, just feet nice and straight. Make sure your knees don't go over your toes and push your bum out. You can do it like that. To make it a bit more progressive, to work on your balance, you can take a looped resistance band and you can put it over your quads. I like to keep mine on my calves, and widen your stance so it's nice and difficult. Adds resistance, still super efficient, and you can keep on going. One more way, you can keep the resistance band on, but you can make it a bit more progressive by flipping the Bosu ball this way or the other way. It's really, really, really good for balance. And then do your squat. You could add weight. This is a great way to do it with no machines or barbells. So this is my regression video. Thank you.